Good day and welcome to another World of Warcraft video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the Halls of Valor in a Mythic Plus guide, mainly for tanking but also just essentially for how you can take on uh, Halls of Valor. Now Halls of Valor, like Court of Stars, like Temple of the Jade Serpent, are all fairly straightforward dungeons. I think the Legion ones are generally a lot easier than Dragonflight ones. There's a lot less in the way of interrupting, silencing, stunning, necessary this, necessary that. It's a fairly simple procedure. Now, in terms of this week's modifiers, we have Tyrannical, Raging, and Storming as our modifiers. Generally speaking, these dungeons don't change too much based on modifiers. One big modifier change is the one for obviously fortified or fortification, which will increase the mobs. So the mobs themselves will get kind of like an increased basically overall in terms of their damage. That is probably the biggest concern. This section here is fairly straightforward. You don't need to be too concerned about anything. The champions here will pack a little bit of a punch, especially with their power strike. So you do want to obviously be aware of them and maybe proc whatever defensive you have. Otherwise, keep the party facing away from the dragon as much as possible just to assist with AoE. But yeah, again, like I said, these dungeons are fairly simple. There's nothing too crazy with them, so you shouldn't have that big an issue. This boss over here, Heimdall, is fairly simple. You basically, kind of want to keep him facing away from everyone else, but really that's about it. There's nothing too crazy when it comes to him. Watch out for the sides of your map here, because he will summon dragons, and these dragons will cast basically a little AoE attack, and that AoE attack will cause you some concerns. As soon as he is done casting the AoE attack, simply move back into the space and everything will be fine. And that's that. There's nothing too crazy about it. Avoid the electricity, as that will give some issues. And yeah, that's it. Bloodletting Sweep is a cleave, and you're done. Dancing Blade, avoidance. That's it. Simple fight. So super duper simple. From a DPS side, I don't think there's too much else except for avoiding AoE. And honestly speaking, this boss is a fairly simple boss, at least from the opening perspective. He's going to cast Storm of Drakes again. You can watch and see that from the side here, he's going to cast more AoE. Again, just try and move directly back into that space, and you're fine. Again, not really anything too crazy here. And that's that. Here you can choose the Starforged or Stormforged Sentinel, I should say, can cause some problems, I think, for some players. So just be aware of when you're pulling these packs, how deep you really want to go against them. If you can, keep an eye on the Starforged Sentinel. He does this charged pulse. Try and keep away from doing that or handling that. And then otherwise, that's pretty much it, really. There's nothing too much else for you to be aware of here. So again, not too overtly complicated in terms of the mob fights here. These Valajar Mystics, you do want to target them to some perspective. A couple reasons why. So they do etch, which is a little bit of a slight concern. It can cause some damage. And then the Mystic, very similarly, also causes a little bit of problems. But once you deal with them, you're just left with basic mobs again. And once more, you're not really left with that many problems. So yeah, pretty simple stuff. I end up fighting my Felguard more than I fight the enemies. Here, you have to take this mob at a certain point. I like to go to the left first, just generally what I like to do. Mainly because I can pull this pack pretty nicely overall, which is pretty good. I then also avoid the Starforged Sentinel as long as possible. Generally wanting to pull him once we've removed this pack, or at least basically finished it. It does tend to help us out there. beyond that, nothing too crazy. Take the patrol when you're ready to take the patrol. He does cause a little bit of chaos, but it's not anything too wild. If you pull him into this corner, you generally have an okay time against him, and you're not too concerned. So, yeah, this is probably the area where I would say you get the most chance for mistakes with a couple roaming patrols, but generally speaking, you should be more than fine. You don't need to pull any more than this left hand side, so you don't need to pull the additional mobs there. Keep it simple, don't worry about it, and you'll be fine. So, yeah, generally speaking, a pretty safe kind of run here. I think for the most part, players shouldn't really have that big an issue. I like to take these mob packs as they are, so for me, it's a fairly straightforward. Yeah, keep the maidens facing away from the party. Again, nothing too crazy. The Legion dungeons are honestly super duper simple, so there's really nothing too wild that you need to be aware of. They do a breached armor move, which is a little bit of a kind of focus, but yeah, here a similar mechanic. So you need to focus the purifier. He is on top of this area, so you do need to focus him down. Main reason being he casts cleansing flames, which causes some healing and some problems. So yeah, that's basically it. Honestly, not too much. Again, try and face the maidens away from the party, so that if they do manage to cast breach armor, they're only hitting you. They're not hitting the rest of the party. And that's this section done. Here you're going to be fighting an aspirant and a shield maiden. The aspirant will be doing a charge up move called Valkyrie's Advance that will land on a certain ally, and then she'll do Blast of Light, which will fire away. Try and situate yourself so that when she does cast Blast of Light, you are at least having her face away from the party, just so that your party doesn't take any additional unwarranted damage that they need to take. Again, Blast of Light here. Ooh, sorry. I stood in the way of that one. Don't stand in the way of it. It can catch you by surprise, but yeah, generally speaking, you should be more than fine. She's got a pretty big wind-up time, so you shouldn't have that many issues. Then you kill these guys one by one, and they kind of give you just a demo of what the boss's abilities are. Interrupt them just to make your life a little bit easier. But yeah, overall, you should be fine. Sanctify, you want to avoid the boss, even if you are a melee character. You do want to avoid the boss a little bit, just so that you can, basically not have such a hard time. As a tank, you will need to rotate between the two of them, but this again is not really too much of an issue. So here we go, we're now taking on Solston. Pretty straightforward. Again, his is kind of the antithesis of his brother's. So here you want to stand in the bubble, and by standing in the bubble, you have a much easier time. So yeah, pretty much simple stuff. Honestly speaking, the bosses here don't have that complex mechanic. Once they did, you will then fight good old Hija. I think that's her name. Herja. And Herja is a combination of these two and their mechanics. So hair's looking a bit wild, actually. Herja is basically a combination of these ones and their mechanics, along with the aspirant's attack. You want to lure her to one side. You don't want her to be in between the bosses. That will cause her to cast two sets of moves, which will make your life a lot harder. So you let her cast Sanctify, very, very cool. And then what you can do as a tank is she will then basically cast her big old Shield of Light, and that's going to push you over to here, which will allow you to easily pull her this way. And that's about it, honestly. Again, this boss, nothing too wild. Because we're on Fortified, we are going to probably have to run through this once or twice. But I'll call you guys once we're at the Fenrir section, or about to get there when things are a little bit less chaotic. So again, by the way, let her push you away. with Shield of Light, so that you can then come across to this side and you can reset her stacks, otherwise her moves get slowly more powerful. And yeah, that's it. So I'll see you guys just now. Cool. Okay, so we're back. We've just cleared out the right hand side. I'll show you guys which side when we come back. And basically you will come to Fenrir's section. You're going to kill this dragon. It is just easier for the percentage. It is good. And yeah, basically we definitely want to kill it. So you will kill this dragon, the Storm Drake, and then you're basically kind of done. You want to be at the final section at around 85% of your mobs. So then you want to stick close to this mountain. It's not too close a gap, like it's not too much of an issue. You jump through this tree, stick close to this mountain, keep your bodies close, and you will eventually come behind Fenrir, who always spawns down this right hand side. And then Fenrir is a pretty straightforward fight, so nothing too crazy. You're gonna do half of the fight here, and then you'll do half of the fight just now. It's important before you do the fight that you take out his mob packs, as they will come and aid him during the final fight. The more that you kill, the better it will be. During Ravenous Hunger, try and split from your party so that you don't take any cleave damage. If you're standing right next to your friends, you will start to take damage. Then we come here. At this point now, we are going to clear out some wolf packs. It's important to not pick up too many wolf packs as they stand together. It can be a little bit too much damage, especially if you are a bit of a raw tank. So try and take out the wolf packs. Don't be too overzealous. They don't take too long to clear, and it is just safer to clear them one by one. Remove the need to avoid damage. You can take up to 2 depending on how comfortable you are. Me, I personally, I do the one by one route. It's just a lot safer. Clear out this pack, this one over here, and then you're also going to accidentally press my my oh shit button. Don't worry about that. That was a misplay. But yeah, here generally you want to basically take out these packs, and then you can also take out this pack over here, which I like to do, and that gives me pretty much what I like for the Fenrir fight. If you want to play it safe, you can also pick up those wolves over there, but really it's not needed in any way, shape or form. So yeah, once you've killed up these guys, you simply just move and immediately take on Fenrir. A very straightforward fight. You can just tank him kind of in this little cave section here. And we have bloodlusted here, but that's okay. You want to spread out again, same moves as before. The reason they've bloodlusted is to avoid the wolf packs coming in, or to try and speed it as much as possible. It's generally speaking probably one of the worst parts of the fight. He will then fixate. You can't really do too much as this is a tank. You just need him to kind of follow the DPS. Once you've done that, you will get a speed buff, and what you want to do here is you want to run back. Don't mount up. Mounting up will take slower, and you're going to follow the same path. So you're going to come through, come around the trees here, stick incredibly close to this mountain. You need to avoid those packs along the side. You are going to pull this one bull. That's okay. Just stay close, keep pulling. The one bull will come to you, that's fine, and then you can clear him out over here, which is more than fine. So he will follow you through the portal, by the way, so there's no point pulling him through. I know it's pretty crazy that he will follow you through the portal, but yeah, he will follow you through the portal, and you just want to take him out, and then now you can go back and take out the last real mob section before you get to the final section, which is God King Skovald and Odin. Now, this fight here, generally speaking, isn't too bad. So, again, you want to just focus the Purifier, try and keep him under control, focus him down. And once you bursted him down, he can't heal anymore, and the fight becomes a lot easier. Don't pull the back mobs. If you can avoid it, if you want to, you're welcome to. You can actually pull both at the same time, but it's not too much of an issue. Starforged Sentinels, very, very, very simple fight as well. They're just going to make a mess, basically, to cut a long story short. The next section is where things get a little bit interesting, at least as, like, the dungeon mechanics go. So, to cut a long story short, the next section can kind of be very good or very bad depending on how much you pay attention to the mechanics. So it's going to be important to focus on this section. Once you've killed these guys, the ephemeral way will open up and you can go to the final section. 82%, oh yeah, we need 84%, I do apologize. So you need 84% to be able to kind of solo clear this section, which means we need to pull exactly one more mob. We're going to do so by going around here and then pulling this one. I was hoping to pull this one pack, but that's fine. We'll just pull this pack over here, it's okay. It will stick us a little bit over, but at the end of the day, it's rather that than waste another 10 seconds or so waiting for the pack there. Ideally, at the end there, when you're pulling the mammoths, you want to actually pull 2 mammoths. That will help you out. So you need 84% going into this final section, and you'll gain the rest killing the sub-bosses that exist up there. So yeah, pretty straightforward stuff. Nothing too crazy. Honestly, a very, 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 very simple sort of dungeon fights, etc. So now that we're done, we're at 86, a little bit too high, tiny bit too high, but that's okay. It's not really too much of an issue. And now you'll come to the sub bosses. Now the sub bosses generally aren't too bad. It's the final sub boss that can catch some people by surprise. So you just need to maintain focus there. There's also a little bit of RP time here. So that's always a lot of fun. But yeah, so you need to talk to the bosses. I challenge you. And then he's going to spawn, and there's nothing too wild to Ranulph. He's generally just pretty straightforward. Points him away from the party and interrupt his unruly yell, and that's basically the whole fight done, if I'm honest. Ranulph and the next one, who is Huldor, are very, very, very simple. The final two you take on at the same time, which can be a little bit irritating. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Haldor, very simple. Face him away from the party, and you should have a fairly decent time. Interrupt unruly yell, and you're done, basically. They're all enraging because of the mechanic here, raging, so that's not too much of a problem. Okay, now you come to the final two, Bjorn and Tjor. So basically you want to focus each one down at a time. There are these ghost mobs that will spawn in. You need to basically stop those mobs and kind of take them out from there. So ideally I like to target Bjorn first. No specific reason. So you see here, see that little ad there that spawned? See that little guy? You want to avoid that guy as much as possible. So as a tank, what you want to do is you want to just move them around and yeah, basically just prevent them hitting them. If they get to them, there's like a huge heal that will go off, and yeah, it's just going to make your life not as fun. Then there's a second one that will spawn. You can either kill them or you can just keep moving the ad. Just keep moving the ad, just keep moving the ad, and once you kill the ad, they will despawn. So very, very, very simple actually. Now comes the final section. So here we have to pick up the Aegis of Angmar as the tank, and basically the boss is gonna have two different mechanics that are going to happen here. You're going to be fighting God King Scovold. He's going to cast Apocalypse. At that point you need to place the shield. Your party will get behind you. Then he's going to do the exact opposite, where he will cast a shield and fire out a cone in front of him. You need to get behind the shield and damage him. You'll see during the fight, I'll explain it to you. You should be more than fine. So yeah, pretty straightforward. So here you can see we're going to be fighting him. Really nothing too crazy. Honestly, he's fairly straightforward. He's going to do Fellblaze Rush, which means he's going to rush and add. Then he casts Ragnarok. We then place a shield, and our party can get behind it. You don't have to hold or not attack. You can do everything you want during the Ragnarok phase. I don't know what the hell happened there. I don't know what the hell happened here. So you pick up the Aegis again. Although I think we should just wipe this, if I'm honest. The DPS died somehow. I'm not exactly certain how they died. I have not a clue how that happened. But hey, yeah, it happens. I think someone had the debuff on them and didn't move away. It's possibly what happened. He'll cast Ragnarok again. We cast Shield. We move behind Shield. We damage. Simple stuff. And this is going to take a while now because of our party dying. So we'll be back when we kill him, and then we'll take on Odin. Okay, so we did manage to beat the boss. We're just waiting for our party to get back. So Odin is a very simple fight. There's a couple things to him. Basically, just avoid some of the AoE. That's really about it. There's nothing too crazy. Match the runic markings on the floor, and you'll be pretty good to go. Honestly speaking, Odin's pretty simple. I don't want to say he's super simple, like, yeah, as if it's like impossible to die, but he's pretty close to being like as simple as it gets, honestly speaking. But yeah, now we want to challenge Odin. We accept the challenge, and at this point, yeah, we just, as a tank, we turn him away, make sure that we don't have him here. As a DPS, where you place the spikes is going to be somewhat important, and you just want to avoid his little kind of bubbles that form here. That's really it. There's not too much, honestly, in terms of this. He does Radiant Tempest. You want to move away during this phase. That's about it. They're going to kill the ad. That's it. That's literally it. He's going to shatter the spheres, which will cause them to do a very big AoE. Then you match your brand. Once you match the brand, you get a huge buff, and yeah, then you're basically done. Now you lust during this phase, so that you have a huge DPS increase. You only have to get Odin to 80%, and that's it. Honestly, easy, hey? So that was good. We managed to get the victory. It was on a +7, so it wasn't too difficult. But that is it. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it helps. And yeah, if you have any suggestions for how to edit these videos, or maybe I should minimize certain things. But yeah, really awesome. Thanks, guys, and hope you enjoyed. Bye.